Melanie Kaplan, Mother of the Week, my first ever guest on this series for Mother of Invention.
That's what we're doing.
Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
This is
Thanks for having
very exciting.
me.
So, as the inaugural episode of my Mother of the Week series, the vision for this is to bring rock star moms onto this video podcast and to ask questions. And there is no one more rock starry that I know than Melanie Kaplan. Before we get into why you're a rock star, let's start with this first question. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Mother of Invention is a meaningful term to me. Necessity is the mother of invention, is what Plato said. I believe that all moms are mothers of invention. What does that mean to you in your personal life, in your professional life?
Sure. It means that we're all making it up as we go. It means that we're literally inventing every single second of the day. There is no guide. There is no rule book. Motherhood looks different for everybody. I very much believe in a non-judgmental parenting path. I let other mothers choose what's best for them, and they're inventing as they go. They're doing the best that they can. I'm doing the best that I can, and we are all we're literally inventing and creating life, and then we're inventing and creating what that life looks like and really shaping these little humans and giving them the tools that they need to then go on and invent things in their lives.
Ooh. See, mic drop, rockstar mom. Amazing answer. Okay, so how do you introduce yourself? As a mother first or as a founder?
It's a good question because I'm very much new to this founder world. I've been a mom for 3.5 years. I've been a founder for about 1.
How old are your kids?
1.5 and 3.5. So I really started this after I had my second daughter, and I didn't see myself becoming a founder at any time in my life. And so I think I will always be mother first, and I'm learning to also include the founder into it.
I love that. And what do your kids, maybe not Jade, but what does your older daughter think you do all day versus what do you actually do all day? So tell us about what your company is.
Sure. I'll start with Sienna. Thanks, my oldest daughter, Sienna, who's 3.5. I have trained her to say that what mommy does is that mommy helps the other mommies, because it's really important to me that she understands why I am now choosing a path that leads me to having less time with her. I still think of myself as her primary caregiver. She definitely thinks of myself as her nanny, primary caregiver, everything, but it's really important to me that she has a deep-rooted understanding that there's a lot in the mission behind what I actually do and for work. And so what do I actually do all day all day long?
oPPal.
I make it up every single day.
The mother of invention.
oPPal, I started a year ago. I had very severe and bad postpartum anxiety and depression when I had Sienna. So around 3 years ago, I woke up one morning when she was 4 months old and was on my kitchen floor hysterically crying to my husband, telling him I could not parent anymore. And I don't think he really understood at the time the extent to what that meant for me, that I was really severely struggling inside. I was going through really bad anxiety, feeling really trapped, and like I was suffocating in my own home because I couldn't leave. I had this baby that was now relying on me. And so that day I took off. I said, I just need some time. I need some space. I just need to figure out what's going on with myself, because I knew I couldn't be a parent to her when I couldn't even take care of myself. So I left for around 3 to 4 nights. I was gone and had to call my doctor, had to say, this is what's going on. Something doesn't feel right. I have a history of anxiety and depression, so I kind of knew the warning signs. Got me right on some antidepressants, some medication. My doctor was like, you really need some deep sleep. We all know that new moms, new parents have a lot of very deep sleepless nights. And then was okay. It took some time, took a lot of healing, got myself better, and fast forward to when I got pregnant with Jade, my second, I set up a lot of things in place to make sure that I wouldn't hit that breaking point. I think that so many women go into pregnancy, fertility, this journey very much focused on they get pregnant have the baby safely. Like there's so much that is hard in those first 2 steps as your entrance into motherhood, that then the preparation for actually what comes after the baby is born isn't really talked about, isn't really something that you're focusing on. And we have to, because you then are handed this little baby and told to keep it alive, and it's really hard to do so.
I always think about that. I mean, my pregnancy journey was similar in that, like, we're so focused on, we think the marathon is like the end, the last mile is the birth,
the delivery,
right?
Yeah,
and then you take this baby home and you're like, oh, wait a second. That, like, this was like the first
starting point.
mile, and we have 26 miles to go. Holy shit, no one told me.
Nobody told me.
This is so disorienting, right? But like, there's so much. It's the nursery, it's the gear, it's the all that, and then your body is changing. Especially the first time, it's like I have no control. So all you can focus on is the birth,
right?
And yet, it's almost misleading, don't you feel?
100%. And I think that there used to be, I still don't really know where like Lamaze went or what was in a Lamaze class when our moms went through Lamaze class. I know that I did like a birthing kind of class through like Cedars. It was over Zoom because it was kind of post-COVID. And nobody talked about what happens after. It was very much, let's just get you to your delivery.
Or this is how you bring your baby home. Right?
Make sure you have the car seat.
Make sure you have the crib. Here's like the feeding schedule, but it's all baby focused.
It's not, hey, make sure that you're taking care of yourself and that this can happen.
Yeah, and like you got to put on the oxygen mask first so that baby can also survive. Okay, so get back to so this is your journey. So how did this? It seems like this this sort of break that you had was the light bulb moment, like even before you knew you were going to found this company.
It definitely was a light bulb moment in my own personal journey and life and experience, but the real light bulb moment for creating my own company was after I had Jade, and I put those things in place to make sure that I knew that I couldn't fall as bad as I did the first time because I had a toddler at home. I was like, I can't leave for 4 nights when I have a toddler at home who's like cognizant and aware of what's going on. So I didn't breastfeed Jade, my second. I went back on my Prozac. I set up more help. I really put some systems in place to make sure that I didn't hit that breaking point. And I didn't. I had a much, much better postpartum experience with Jade. Not the greatest pregnancy, but a much better postpartum experience. And after about 4 months after she was born, I was sitting at home one night and I was playing around with an app called Time Hop, which I'm not sure how familiar anybody is with it. It's like Google Photos. It like shows you a year ago this, 2 years ago this, 3 years ago this is what happened. And I was sitting one night and playing around with it, and it showed me that that break had happened 2 years ago from the date that I was sitting in bed looking at these photos. And I then came across a video that I had forgotten that I had made of myself crying, being gone from Sienna and talking to her in the future. Wow. And I had forgotten I made it. I was like sitting at a hike in like this water, like next to this waterfall, like really trying to connect with nature. Like when I was gone, I really tried to like root myself back and like touch grass, go outside, look at the sky, like really recalibrate like my nervous system.
Good for you
go
for
to the
having
beach.
That impulse.
I like knew I needed connection to the beach, the ocean, the sand, something in nature. So I found this video of myself crying, talking to Sienna in the future, and I just decided I'm gonna share this video. I had a private Instagram account at the time. I posted a series of photos explaining this happened 2 years ago. I left. This is how I felt. This is then what happened. And here's this video that I'm now watching for the first time. Went to bed being like, okay, somebody's gonna, people might watch this, people might not. I don't know. I just wanted to share it. I'm very much a believer in sharing your story. I'm probably an oversharer. I will tell a stranger on a bench like anything. I joke I'm a Jew from the Valley. You could ask me anything and I'll tell you about it, even if you don't want to know about it. And I have no shame when it comes to mental health. I think there's so much around that people feel like they can't talk about. I think our generation is really the first that is really breaking that through, and then the ones to come are leaning into that too. And so I just shared it and I didn't think much of it. And I woke up the next morning to hundreds of messages from people that I hadn't spoken to in years saying, this also happened to me. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm currently experiencing this. And I was like reading them the next morning going, wow, there is a serious problem. If everybody's reaching out to me and I'm no doctor, I'm no expert, there is something wrong with the system if all of these women are feeling so compelled to reach out to me about what I had just shared. And I think that was really my light bulb moment. It wasn't like, oh, I now know what I'm going to go and invent and create. It was just, I'm going to do something. And it just got my mind turning in that way.
Okay. oPPal.
oPPal. So
oPPal was
after
born.
that moment, I decided I was going to do something in postpartum, and I spent a couple months like really curious and doing research into like where is the gap in the space. I didn't want to just like go out there and be like, I'm going to make this and not have it be like something that was actually effective.
Right.
So I spent time talking to doulas, to therapists, psychologists, my OB-GYN, my pediatrician, everybody that already touched this demographic of women to say, like, why do you think so many women are hitting this breaking point? Like, where do you see the gaps lying? I also started asking a lot about the test that they make us all take that we're scored on about our postpartum self. I have to, like, relook at the name.
What is that?
There's this
That's
test that
different
the
than the
pediatricians
Apgar.
give you.
That's the baby test.
Yeah, no, this is different. The pediatrician gives you this test that is asking you about your mental health. And it's really important that it is there, but your pediatrician is the one that is giving it to you. And you're sort of like, why? The reason why is because they're seeing you more frequently. Your OB-GYN sees you typically one time after you have the baby at 6 weeks. And it's like, we're checking you and then we'll see you later unless there's complications. So there's this like huge gap of time. There's this huge gap of care that you're left to kind of figure out yourself. Your OB-GYN is a surgeon. They're there to like deliver the baby. Then you go to the pediatrician. They're your baby's doctor. They're not really your doctor, but they're giving you this test and they're asking you about how you're doing, but they're also being given like 10-minute slots to see their patients. So what I started hearing over and over again is that they're really overwhelmed. And I went into it not being like, I'm blaming the medical system for this problem. Well, maybe the system as a whole, but I'm not blaming the doctors, the practitioners. These
Everyone's
people
doing
are
the best
doing the
they're
best
doing,
that they can do. So I really wanted to approach them from, I'm coming at this from, where can I like complement what you guys are already doing? Where can I be like a supplement to the care that's already existing?
Sure.
So I decided at some point during that journey that I was going to build a matchmaking platform that is called oPPal. And it's pairing a mom who is already 1 year plus out postpartum with a mom who is pregnant or in her postpartum journey. So it's really this, people like to call it kind of this mentorship platform. I'm not really keen on the word mentorship because it creates a hierarchy between the two women. Yeah. I'm very much looking at this from they're equals, and one has just gone through something that they now have this wisdom that they can then help the next person get through. Mm-hmm. So I decided to just start building it. So it's really like a peer support platform that's connecting moms.
Amazing. And then the women who have just been through postpartum are the big oPPals.
Yes, I call them big oPPals
and little oPPals, which I love.
Yeah.
And I think what I love about this platform is it really, like, it is that, like, support layer that I think a lot of women also may not know. When you're in it, especially the first time, you're so deep and so disoriented that you're not even, like, thinking about, oh God, I need therapy, or oh, I might need to go onto antidepressants or whatever. So to have someone there to just be checking in and have a relationship, however deep or light, and then there's a connectivity into mental health that I know you're building too.
Yeah. So the basics of the program is that the big oPPals actually get trained. So we're building this training guide that we call the STAR map that every big oPPal will have to go through. It's just a series of like video modules, but it was really important to me to tap into the actual professionals, the psychologists, the doulas, the midwives, to develop this training with me. And so they have developed the like core training guide, the STAR map. Every big oPPal has to watch it. Then they get their match to their little oPPal, and they are committing to 3 months of twice a week check-ins just via text message. Hey, how are you? Have you taken a shower today? Have you had a snack today? Have you gone on a walk today? Like very basic, subtle reminders, but always with the emphasis on how are you as the mom. It's not meant to be how'd the baby sleep last night. We know that women are gonna get into like practical advice and things like that, but the big oPPal's role really isn't to be there to tell the little oPPal what to do. We look at them as the compass. They are the compass for their little oPPal that is showing them the way without telling them the way. They're really guiding them. They're really bringing them into this journey together. I think one of the hardest parts of motherhood is trusting your own instincts, right? You're like, I'm supposed to know what to do with this. There's 5,000 different diaper brands. There's formula. There's this. There's baby-led weaning. There's giving them solids. Like, and we have too much information actually right now is what's happening.
And you have loud voices, like your mom, your mother-in-law, your partner. Yeah, everyone.
And you don't know who to listen to, who to trust. And the big opal isn't there to add to that noise. They're really there to get their little opal to a place of you can trust yourself.
Yeah, listening
to
little...
yourself. Like, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to encourage you to figure out how to listen to your own voice.
I love that. You know, it's so funny. I went out to a dinner the other night with my friend, my other friend Mel. But we went out to dinner, and I was walking by, and there was this baby and a window, and I saw the baby's face, and it was like truly a newborn, like a month old. And you know, half the reason I started a baby product company is because I love babies so much, and I just was like, baby, you know, just to see such a brand new baby, right? And then she was there with her family, and everyone was kind of turning around, and I was like, oh my gosh, a baby. And then I was like, wait a second. And I was almost like I was channeling you. I was like, love the baby. And then I was like, Mom, how are you? And then I was like, I'm going to walk around this little partition. I was like, your baby is beautiful, but how are you doing? Right? Because like, that's what moms need. Like, people don't understand, like, the baby gets all the attention. And and like, we love that. The baby is of us. We invented the baby, but we need to be checked in on too. And it is such a crazy transition, right? So I think about that a lot now, especially knowing your model.
Yeah, I just read an article in CNN actually all about how it's like we are just leaving moms behind in the equation. And I remember so specifically having some people say things to me, not ill-intentioned.
No, of course
everybody means well, but saying words to me like, well, you're just the vessel that's delivering this baby.
I had that said to me when I was pregnant. My partner's like nanny of a million years, she was like, "You are the chosen vessel."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
you're like, what?
I think I'm more than a chosen vessel. Yeah, bitch. No, I'm just kidding.
You're kind of like, what? And then everybody tells you nobody's going to care about you anymore. People are only going to call for your kids. And I still listen. People still call me all day long about, hey, how were your kids? And
of course,
really care about how they're doing. And I feel like I am their manager and their social coordinator. But especially in those early months, like moms cannot be left behind. It is so drastic and so scary what can happen to a mom. The hormones, the physiological changes, all the things that you're talking about with matrescence. It's like, why aren't we caring about what happens to the mom? They're the ones that are caring for this baby that you care about so much. So we got to care about the mom.
Okay, so that's a question. I want to move into my favorite topic of diaper changing in just a second. But the last question I want to ask about, because you talk a lot about postpartum. How do you think about postpartum in relationship to the entire matrescence journey? Is it just sort of like one section? How do they play into each other?
That's a good question. I really look at postpartum and like that's why we're defining the first year. Like when we beta tested oPPal, it was so interesting because I had women apply to be a big oPPal that were only 3 to 4 months postpartum because they felt like I made it through. We talk about the 4th trimester and those first 3 months. My postpartum depression and anxiety didn't hit me until month 4. There's a huge big drip that happens
Mine
after
didn't
month
happen
4.
until month 9.
Right. It can I think there's even studies that show up to 2 years, but we really defined like a big oPPal has to get through the first year, especially with their first baby after a year. I think that the postpartum matrescence, like it's all this one big thing that is happening in your life after giving birth to this baby that changes you in ways that like you don't even know are going to change you. We know we want these babies. We know we want to be moms. We don't know what that really means until we're in it. You know, you can think you're going to be one way and then be completely the other way. I thought I would love newborns and be like the most ideal picture perfect mom that was like cuddling at home, loving her newborn baby. I did not. I really did not like it. And I really still to this day am not a newborn person.
Right.
And that's hard to accept and understand. And I think with matrescence
how
and
honest.
this like yeah, but I think also that is what matrescence is too, is like women come out of like this first year or two, like really finding themselves again. And I think it takes time to get there, but we all do because it changes you in these big, big ways that are actually amazing ways.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like that postpartum year, right? Like that is the most intense, scrambly year. But again, the journey, it's almost bookended,
Yeah.
right? Like you have the pregnancy, like the moment you start thinking about wanting a baby is
Yeah.
kind of, I guess, when matrescence begins.
Yeah.
Then you have this intense, almost like, you know, you're in the muck. And then it's like, but you're still in it
Yeah.
a year and out,
we're in it forever.
Right. So,
Yeah.
but it's almost like this is the meat and potatoes
Yeah.
of matrescence to a
Yeah.
certain extent.
Yeah, and it's true. We're in it forever. I called my dad once early on, hysterically crying. I remember so vividly, like calling him hysterical, being like, "Dad, when do they stop crying to you so much?" And he's like, "Can we talk about the irony in this phone call right now? Because you are 35 and you are calling me crying about your kid crying to you. And so, honey, this is going to be the rest of your life. And it's a blessing, but it's really hard."
Yeah. It's hard and good and so rewarding, but like exhausting too. Exhausting too.
Yeah.
So I love talking to you because you are still in diapers.
I'm in it, yeah.
You're still in diapers with Jade. I guess one of the things I feel like diapering for me, there was a lot about it that I just was like, wait a second, no one told me that this was gonna happen. Like no one, this is such like a progression. What has the overall experience been for you? And like, what are the things that you were like, whoa, did not expect this to happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think with Sienna, I don't even think I've ever talked to you about this, but with Sienna, both of my girls were breech and both had C-sections. So both of them had hip dysplasia. Jade, luckily, to not as severe of a degree, but Sienna at maybe maybe 2 weeks old, had to go into a harness.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think that's a very like traumatic memory for me that I maybe have suppressed deep down, and I maybe thinking about this more, like, did play a big part into my postpartum depression. I actually remember very deeply, like, the day they put her in it was on my birthday. It was pouring rain. To take her to Children's Hospital, which is not a pleasant place to have to go.
I've been there. It's not pleasant.
It's so traumatizing. You're walking in with this, like, fresh little newborn baby. It was my birthday. It was pouring rain, and I'm sitting there, and he just immediately was like, "We're putting her in a harness," and hands it to us. And I just froze.
And so what does a harness look like?
She looked like an astronaut. It's kind of the best way to explain it to her.
Okay.
I weirdly still have it because it's like part of my memory kit from her. And people are like, "That's really strange. You need to get rid of this harness." They look different. It depends on the degree that they need. But hers was like a full body one. She had to be in it basically all the time. And so diaper changing, like I had like an option there was like a way to maneuver it to change the diaper, but it was really, really hard. And she would scream, scream, scream. And I was like, I already feel like being a new mom is so hard. And then to add this extra layer and now you also have to figure this out. But thank God when he put it on her, I was like, there were so many steps to like tightening it, doing all these things. And I just like blacked out, started crying in the doctor's office. And thank God my husband at the time knew I have to get it together. I have to pay attention. I have to be the strong one to know this.
Yeah.
And he had to every morning before he left for work do the first change because it was so traumatizing for me to have to do. And there were just so many little steps. So yeah, maybe I had a very bad entrance into diaper changing because of that I've never really thought about until I was thinking about this conversation.
Yeah, so from the get-go, this is not a task. This is not a thing that you are looking forward to.
No, I absolutely hated it. I avoided it as much as humanly possible. I never wanted to be the one doing it, but neither did my husband. So it was never either one of us were like, "Ooh, I'm going to go change the diaper today." You know, it wasn't a fun thing to do at all.
Yeah, I get that. And how could that not be a part of your postpartum anxiety, like a trigger for
I guess,
it?
yeah. I'm having to undo all these different pieces to it.
I also love that you kept it. I think that's actually really important. I think that's really beautiful.
Probably smells really bad, but
yeah, but who cares?
Yeah,
it's part
a weird
of it.
cloth
It's
thing.
an object. It's an object of memory.
Yeah, I very much am a believer in
yeah.
those things. Yeah.
As Sienna got older and as she got out of diaper or as she got out of her harness, did you experience especially changing an infant with a harness versus a rising toddler? How did that shift for you?
I think it got easier. I think I also just so much was in this routine place of schedules and everything where diapering was very much integrated into my daily sleep training process, with the naps, with everything. It was very much like a routine. It was like, we're gonna go into the room, we're gonna change the diaper, I'm gonna put on your pajamas, I'm gonna put on your sleep sack, you're gonna take a nap. So it's very much like outside of blowouts and poop and things like that, diapering was just a very specific part of our routine that then led into sleep or waking up. And also I think that diapering plays a big part into feeding too. I remember with breastfeeding, it was very much like if you can't get them to like wake up and stuff, just like even if they don't need a diaper change, kind of like fake change their diaper, because that will sort of like arouse them to then like latch to do the feed.
Right. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I guess the one last question I would ask you as we wrap out is, if you could beam a message back to your pregnant self, like maybe 6 to 7 months in when you were pregnant with Sienna, and you could just tell your former self one thing about this entire journey, what would that one piece of advice be?
You're gonna learn to be the mom you want to be. You're going to get there, because again, I think the hardest part is trusting yourself in the noise and feeling like you're trying to be the best mom that this person thinks you should be, or this type of mom, or this type of mom. And it's like, I'm a different mom every day. I can't like put myself into a category. And I think that that's the biggest grace and blessing you can give yourself as a mom, is like, you don't have to define yourself as one type of mom. You can actually just be the mom, and you can change your mind all the time, and that you can trust that on that day, in that moment, you're making the right decision for your baby because you are the mom.
And you are listening to yourself, it sounds like.
And figuring out how to listen to yourself, that you will get there. Because at first I did not know how to listen to myself. I thought I needed everybody else to give me the answers. Even the ones that weren't the ones telling me the unsolicited advice. I was constantly seeking answers out of others. And that's kind of my personality, is I feel like I have to like go and take a bunch of information from a ton of different people before I can settle on a decision. And I think that's like been my matrescence journey and kind of unlock, is now I'm not that way. I'm able to just make a decision and not go and ask 1,000 people their different opinions first. I can just make it and move on.
I love that. I love that. So just learning to trust that maternal intuition even before you know, even before you are actually a mom, right? Like, how do you get in touch with that?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful piece of advice. Melanie Kaplan, thank you so much for being my guinea pig.
Oh, of course.
You are my first Mother of the Week.
Yeah.
Please come back weekly. In theory, we're going to be doing this with other rock star moms and founders.
Moms.
I have some awesome women that are lined up.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, follow Melanie. Her personal Instagram account is amazing, but also my oPPal on Instagram, across social. You can sign up for the beta, for the waitlist. The waitlist is live. If you are a mom who's been through the postpartum journey and want to be a big oPPal, you can apply. Same thing if you're pregnant or new, early in your postpartum journey. You're going to be launching
at the end of April.
At the end of April. The tech stack is amazing. Melanie's building an empire and doing amazing work. So definitely check her out, follow her, and come back. And thank you for being here.